Right, it's a delight to be here with my friend Mia Morris. Here we are, nice and cosy, here having a nice drink and a bit of a catch-up. Mia's founder of the Black History Month website and Well-Placed Consultancy, which you've been running for about 10 years now. Mia, tell us, I'm keen to find out a little bit about you, your background, the work that you did, how you got involved in this realm. How did you first get involved in the world of Black history and consulting on events and all the rest of it?
Well, this year's my 10th year of being in business, but the ideas and the work that I've done was started maybe 20 years. So really I've got like 30 years working in heritage arts and heritage field and doing event management.
Yeah, how did it all begin?
Started off, I think, with volunteering to work on Radio London, a programme called Black Londoners. And all I did simply was I was the meter and greeter, then I worked alongside the producers. So I used to meet and greet people who were booked in to speak, who were booked in to be interviewed on radio. And from then onwards, it then developed that I met other people. I met people who set up a Minority Arts Advisory Service. And as a result, I got to know Patrick Berry, who used to run Choice FM, which is now sold and now run by Capital Radio. So all those sort of different people that I've worked with over the years, they've moved on and developed, and it's natural that I should move on and develop alongside, but doing something slightly different.
Got you. Which came first, Well-Placed or the Black History Month website?
Well-Placed came first.
Yeah.
So Well-Placed is 10 years old, the Black History Month website is 8 years old.
And how did you go about that journey? Did you just suddenly decide one day, okay, I've been doing this stuff at Well-Placed, I'm going to set up a Black History Month website? I mean, how did you go about it?
It started off with Eric and Jessica Huntley, who are now in their 80s, who simply said to me one day that at last they've got their funding to organise their events for Black History Month. But it was August, and I was just thinking, how are they going to promote and publicise it? And they were the ones that said to me, well, isn't there a website? And I said, what do you mean, isn't there a website? And I looked around and realised there wasn't a website, so I created one.
Right.
So really, they're the people that really encouraged me to set it up.
And what's quite remarkable about it, I know from having spoken to you, it is seen as one of the resources, if not the resource, that people go to when they're arranging their events. They want to find out what's on and finding out what's on, including local authorities, I think, refer to your website.
Yes, people refer to my website. Obviously, I now have social media on my tail, so I'm not as popular as I used to be. But there was a time when people used to come to my website as a matter of fact, as a place to find out what was going on and what's happening. So much so that the website's archived by the British Library, which means that if you were to put in, I don't know, the 9th of September 2006, it would take you back to my website. It'll give you an idea of what was actually going on during that particular period.
And one of the things that's been more recent is the introduction of Black History Month and newspaper. How did that come about? Tell us a little bit about that and the objective behind that.
The newspaper came from an inquiry we got from the Windsor Fellowship, who do a magazine called Talent, and they do that in conjunction with Smart Publishing. Smart Publishing are the people that own the publication. And they simply said to me, could I write them a couple of pages about Black History Month? The usual story, didn't have any money, and I said, I don't care, and I sent them a couple of pages. Months later, good 6 months later, I get a phone call, and it's Mark from Smart Publishing saying, Mia Morris, this is Mark from Smart Publishing, have you thought of creating a newspaper? And I could not believe it. And it's been the easiest piece of work I've ever had to do, touch wood. They're a fantastic client to work with, and so much so that Mark, with his smart self, has literally given birth to another fantastic idea, which is a careers skills day, which is taking place in February, which we're going to be showcasing, which has led to the creation of Black History Live.
So tell us
the 1st and 2nd of October.
So tell us a bit about Black History Live. What's the idea of this particular event?
It's a family history heritage event, and what we've been doing, we've been taking to the streets and literally interviewing people in the regions and getting people's idea and feedback about what sort of events and activities they'd like to see take place. So far it's not been celebrity-led, which I'm surprised, but more or less people saying that they want something they could take to, that their families would be proud of, so that the storytellers for the young people, for the kids, that there's history and heritage and something to do, whether it's jewellery making or costume making or cake baking or cake making. So the whole idea is that you can be part of Black History Month, something you could taste, feel and be part of.
So all of these things under one roof, the events, the stalls, the exhibitions, the speeches and all the rest of it, the paraphernalia, all under one roof. Mm. And it's quite a big roof because I understand it's taking place...
Well, it's not any old roof, it's Wembley Stadium. You know, trouble about me, I never do anything small. So it's in the Bobby Moore Suite at the Wembley Stadium, and we look forward to seeing people and their families there.
And tell us a little bit about what have been the highlights over the last 10 years. What have been the highlights for you?
Well, I think the phone call to say would I be interested in setting up the newspaper, and the other one was a British Library in actual saying, please miss, can we archive your website? Which didn't mean anything until I actually realised I was part of a big community archive project.
And it's been exciting meeting lots of the great and the good in that.
I've met the good and the great, and the not so good and the not so great. I just like meeting ordinary people because I'm an ordinary person myself, really.
So it must have been a really exciting bringing that to get together, you know, the member of the public who's very interested to find out more about history, and lots of those people who are in their own way involved in shaping it, the authors, the people in media and so on. That must be quite an exciting
Yeah, the exciting thing for me is actually when I'm sitting down with what described as the master list, and every now and again I go into the spreadsheet, I start thinking about the newspaper and the 6 editions that we've had, and I start writing down all the various people who were part of it, then I start thinking about the particular stories and headlines. And so really there's literally 250 things that can take place under this one roof, so I really can't wait to be there.
We're looking forward to it. And do you want to give us the web address so people can find you or find more about more?
Well, to find out more about me, you go to www.black-history-month.co.uk and you find details about the Black History Live event. And from March 2011, believe it or not, Ticketmaster will be selling tickets.
Fantastic, and that event again is in October, of course. A pleasure to speak to you, Mia. Good to see you again, and all the best with the event.
Thank you. Wonderful.